Well, sorry. Okay. Well, hello. Um, I was actually just gonna start, but I just got a text from my boss asking me to do extra work, and it's not fun work. So, so that's great news. Um, but so that pretty much that can kind of transition into like what I wanted to talk about in the first place right now. And that is I want to become an alcoholic. Not clickbait. Um I don't actually. Kind of. But like okay, just a quick backstory, like you wouldn't believe it based on how my room is like crackhead, like crack house, like nothing is clean right now. But so I've actually been sober like my entire life. Um as far as I can think of. So that was just kind of like the influence I grew up in and stuff. And like, I've had a lot of friends, you know, in my life that do drink or like that do drugs or like, but some that even do like kind of more like hardcore stuff. But, you know, I've been around them when they're doing it, but I've just always kind of like opted out. Um, but I don't know. I've never had anything I kind of want to like. I'm starting to be curious about at least just drinking, not like drinking like a lot, but like just a little. I don't think it would hurt to just give it a go, but as long as it's like responsible. Um, but so this is actually all stemming from a little story time here. Um, so the other blah, blah, blah. So I'm coming home from work, right? Just driving home where I live. I kind of live in like a very like urban area, so there's like a lot of just stuff, a lot of people around, a lot of things going on. Um, and uh, sorry, yeah. So there's just a lot of stuff going on, and on that front, there's just like a ton of bars like around everywhere, and um, you know, like I just drive by a lot of bars a lot, and so this is a weekend. A lot of people are just out. I think there's like some kind of event going on, like in my city, but I didn't really know what it was. So I'm just here. I am. I'm just trying to drive home, and I actually stop at a red light, like right in front of some bar. I was kind of like, I was kind of interested in, but it wasn't like, like I said, like I've never like ever pulled the trigger on it or anything. So it's just kind of been like an idea. Um, and I was actually like just the other day, I was just talking about my friend or talking to my friend, and she was like, "Oh, we should go." She was just saying she would like love to go check it out with me and stuff. Um, so keep in mind that was like literally I think that was like the day before this happened. So that's why I was kind of just like did a little detour to drive by it just to kind of like see, because I know it's like walking distance from me, but I've never like actually driven in front of that one. Um, so I stop at the red light like right across from that bar. and lots of people just out on the street. And I see this. There's this girl who's like crossing the street, and I get the feeling that she's like staring at me, right? Like just kind of like giving me eyes or whatever. Um, and that's not like, it's never happened to me before, but I recognize I'm like extremely delusional. So I've kind of learned to just like ignore everything, just assume that it's like, I've learned to just like assume that that's not, like they're not looking at me, like they're not, it's not for me. Um, so that's what, I thought, yeah, she's just whatever, like she's not looking at me. And then she keeps crossing the street, and she kind of like stops right, right in front of me, right in front of my hood, and just like full stare down like this, like just full, like just staring into my soul. So now I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy, right? Like I'm not insane. Um, Sorry, I'm like, I don't even know how to like tell this story. I'm still like dumbfounded by it. No, I don't know. It wasn't like that crazy. Um, but just to me, it was kind of crazy, and like the timing of it was funny and stuff. Um, but yeah, so now I'm like, okay, she's looking at me. And honestly, I was just kind of like surprised. I'm just sitting there kind of like blushing. Like I don't really, I don't know. Like I said, I get attention sometimes, but for the most part, I just kind of like assume that it's like not, like they're not looking at me or like they're not talking to me or whatever. Um, so I don't really know how to like react properly. And I think she could kind of see that because she's still just like staring, smiling, winking, like all the above. And I'm just like frozen in shock. I'm petrified, right? And it's not like, it feels good. Um, to like get attention like that, but I just I don't know how to like react. So um and she kind of sees that I'm just sitting there like frozen and kind of like blushing, and her last thing is she goes like right before she's like done crossing the street, she like blows me a little kiss with her hand, and then she turns around and like lifts up her skirt and like kind of shows me a little cheek, which was like, um and that's when I just froze. Because I'm like, um I don't think I've ever had that happen before. um so that was kind of crazy. That was kind of fun though. But so anyways, this all happened like right after I was talking about visiting this bar with my friend. And so now I'm kind of taking that as like a sign of like, maybe I should go to the bar. Maybe, not like, I'm probably not gonna find like that woman again. Actually, maybe. I don't really know. I've only been in a bar like a couple of times. Um, and they've usually been to like play pool or, actually, the first time I was ever in a bar, I was in high school and they just let me walk in. They didn't check any ID or whatever. Maybe that's normal. Maybe they only ID when you actually drink. Um, but yeah, I was in high school. I just walked straight up. We were meeting some guy off of Craigslist to buy my first car, actually. and it sounds pretty sketchy, like just meeting some dude at some random bar at night with a bunch of cash to buy his car in the parking lot. But somehow it just was like fine. Like, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy, obviously, that like nothing happened to me there. But I just kind of think that's like crazy to look back on. But yeah, so I haven't really been to any bars or anything before, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. So I'm not expecting to like see her again. Uh, but you know, I think that kind of like gets me into like the next thing I wanted to talk about, and that's more like, you know, that's kind of like a funny, like absurd story or whatever. Um, but I don't know. It just had me like thinking about like a bigger kind of picture of stuff, in that like, um, you know, just kind of like in that sense, you know, like personally, I've been like wanting to get back into dating. Like I've been kind of like looking for someone to date, and it's just kind of like difficult for me, you know, like in my situation I don't really meet a lot of new people, um regardless. And then I think the places that I do hang out in, you know, I'm kind of an oddity, to speak, so I'm not like, um you know, I'm not just like normal. So like certain crowds, they kind of want nothing to do with me. um and you know, I think other crowds, you know, kind of, uh you know, might want something to do with me like a little too much. But regardless, I think it's just kind of like, you know, it's more important about like, if you're trying, especially in the sense of like dating or something, if you're like trying to get somewhere or attract something or find like a type of person for you, like whatever type of person like you want to be, I think it kind of comes down to like, you have to be like in the right place for you, you know. And that's like, I feel like it's like obvious thinking about, but like, I think it can be beneficial for everyone to kind of like self-reflect, you know, and just kind of make sure that you like, you really are like putting your energy in the right channels, and like you're, you know, you're hanging out in the right places and stuff. And, you know, and that's not saying you should like change your routine, but like, maybe put like, start putting a little more effort into things, or like a little less effort into other things, uh, just, you know, just based on like what results you want. um, and that's what I'm taking away from being flashed after thinking about trying to be an alcoholic. uh, so, um, but yeah, I mean, maybe I'll go check it out, with my friend. That'll be another interesting story. Probably a little more interesting than this one. But yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I needed to kind of reflect. So like a lot of the time, like I just moved kind of to like this more like urban area. Um, Whereas like I grew up in like a suburban place, you know, it's like 20 minutes away from here, so I kind of still spend a lot of time like where I grew up, and that's where I hang out with all my friends and stuff. But that area is just like completely different vibe, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I'm over there hanging out with those people, like I can't really be myself, and then like, um, especially because of that, like I just feel like I can't really like find anyone, or anyone I do meet, like they're not really like meeting me like authentically. Um, So I feel like, honestly, like, like I have fun hanging out with my friends and stuff, but if I'm like trying to find someone, I'm kind of just like wasting time. Like I could be spending my free time like here in the more city area where there's like more people like me and stuff, or that like would be more interested in me. And that's not, again, like you're not getting into like doing stuff because you want like the attention of someone else, but it's just like, sometimes that's just kind of like, uh, the reality of it. Like if you want to meet a certain type of person or something, like you have to be a certain type of person for them to like want you. And you don't want to have to like fake it and like fake be whatever type of person you're talking about or whatever. But you can just like find something that align. Nothing's like black and white. Like you just find something within that kind of like aligns with you, and you could like start spending more time, start spending more effort, like kind of doing whatever on that. So I don't know. I don't really know what I'm trying to say. But anyways, what I'm taking away from that is maybe I should start trying to meet some more people out here, or maybe I should spend more time in the city. And whether that's by like going to check out these like bars near me or whatever. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of activities. There's a lot of stuff you can do. If you can kind of like find like local clubs near you, that's kind of what I want to start like looking for. Like I have a lot of hobbies and stuff, obviously. But maybe I could find some clubs or something with like people around here with similar interests. And that's a great way to kind of like meet new people and make new friends, that are kind of like accepting of you and kind of like are into stuff you're into, which is just cool. But yeah, sometimes it's important to hang out at places you actually want to be, not just like places you'll have fun or something, but it's like somewhere you can like actually be comfortable with yourself, and you're like actually like the other people around you and stuff. And I don't know. Sorry, this video is just kind of like a bit of rambling, but well, I needed to upload, so I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I don't know. maybe go drive by that bar you've been wanting to check out. If you should go in, you'll probably get flashed outside, and that'll be a sign. Because apparently that happens. So, peace.